Back to my channel. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, whatever you want. We're talking about seeds today. I have my seed hauls. Finally, it came in today. My Johnnys seed haul came in probably 2 weeks ago. My Migardner seeds just came in this morning. We're gonna sit down and talk about everything that I ordered today, why we ordered them. This is also some stuff that my husband ordered for the permaculture orchards. We're going to be going over all that today. Some of my favorites, trying some new things this year. So let's talk about my Johnnys seed haul and my Migardner haul. We are going to start with my Johnnys seeds haul, just because it's a lot smaller than my Migardner haul. I like to order everything that I possibly can through Migardner. It's a lot cheaper than Johnnys seeds. Johnnys seeds, I want to say that they're all organic seeds regardless. I could be wrong about that, but I think they are. They're a little bit more expensive. And Migardner's seeds are pretty much all $2, $3, somewhere in there. They're very reasonable. So when I can, I try to order all through Migardner versus Johnnys seed. There are a few exceptions to that. Sometimes if I'm looking to order things in bulk, I'll just get it through Johnnys seeds. But that's kind of where we're at. So my husband put an order in, he ordered some stuff, and I ordered some stuff through Johnnys seeds. So we're gonna talk about those first. This is some stuff that my husband ordered for the permaculture orchard. We have about an acre or so of our property that we are getting ready in the next like 2 weekends. We're fencing it off. We're putting in a bunch of different fruit trees. Basically all perennial things are going to be going over there. It started as originally just going to be an orchard with some berries and keeping it very simple, but as we've researched and gotten more in depth throughout the winter, it's become a bigger and a bigger project, which is definitely okay. We're very excited about it. But the permaculture aspect of the orchard is basically having your fruit tree, some type of nitrogen fixing tree, and then obviously some sort of ground cover, something that you're putting on the base of your trees. And those can be things like berries, rhubarb, any type of perennial that you just want to put there. You can even put flowers there if you really wanted to. So we have a lot of things happening over there. That's really been my husband's project over in the orchard. I've taken on more of just the regular garden and animal research because we're looking into a lot of different things for this year. So my husband really took over the permaculture orchard aspect of things. He did all the research, he did all the ordering, and he pretty much only consulted me when it came time to figuring out what we wanted to order, what we wanted to put over there, and how much of it we wanted to put over there. So these are the seeds and the things that are going on the base of the trees. So he ordered a thing of catnip. Very excited about this. I keep joking that all of the neighbors' barn cats are going to end up in our yard, and it's like a joke, but it's not a joke. It's 100% going to happen. So he ordered a thing of catnip. He also ordered a thing of dill. This is teddy dill. This is stuff that we'll be able to use in pickles. We'll be able to pick this and just freeze it and use it in tartar sauce or on, we like to put dill on salmon sometimes. So that's basically what that's for. He also ordered some hyssop. I actually don't know what that is, but he did order some hyssop. That has to be some sort of flower. He also ordered some Victoria rhubarb seeds here. These were a pretty good price. We have one rhubarb plant on the property. However, I didn't know when I planted it, rhubarb does best butted up against a building or butted up against a fence line, and it'll get really big and beautiful really right away. I did not do that. I planted it in my strawberry bed, which from my research isn't wrong. It'll do well there, but it's not going to take off and get big and luscious and beautiful like my sister-in-law's did. We planted ours at the same time. We bought them at the same time from the same nursery, and she put hers up against her house, and she actually gifted me like 13 or 14 cups worth of rhubarb that she took off of that plant this summer, and mine basically did nothing at all. So it's just kind of different soils, different things. Sometimes you don't always get it right, and that was one of the things. So we did order some rhubarb seeds. We are going to be planting some rhubarb at the base of a couple of the trees, so I'm going to start those seeds here pretty quick. And then he also ordered some sweet asylum. Those are all things that are going to be going on the base of the trees. I know he also ordered a couple other things here. He also wanted to try this beneficial insect attractant mix. This is a perennial and an annual mix, so there's a mix of everything in here. He wanted to give this a try because my husband has been picking up a bag or two of these pollinator wildflower seeds from Menards basically every time he's gone to Menards over the last couple of months, basically since they started placing these seeds out. I want to say they're $8 a bag. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bags right now. We have a couple different areas on the property we're planting these. We are really looking to kind of not limit the grass, but we have a couple sections where our grass gets really hard to cut. It gets really thick and it's just terrible. So we are tarping those areas off right now. And once the grass dies in the summertime, once it's time to plant these, once the weather gets a little bit warmer here in Wisconsin, we're gonna be throwing these perennial mixes over those tarped out areas where the grass is dead, and we're just going to replace the really not so nice grass with pollinator mix instead. So that's what some of this is for, and some of this is going to be going over by the orchard on the fence line. But he wanted to try this beneficial insect attractant mix, just kind of mix it in with some of the different flower perennial mixes that he got. He also ended up ordering this bee feed mix, which is kind of the same thing, but it's more specific to bees. They're all just different perennial flower mixes. He also ordered another big thing of dill here, but this is a different variety of dill, just a much bigger package than the other dill, an annual, so it's not going to come back. Same with this bee mix. It's an annual mix as well. And I think that's everything he ordered, minus this big old thing of clover. He was very insistent on this. Johnny's seed was sold out of this for a very long time. That bag was pretty expensive. I don't have the receipt, but I can put up on the screen how much it was. But he's very, very passionate that we need this, so we ordered it. That's going out in the orchard as well. I'm not exactly sure where in the orchard he plans on putting it. We're gonna have to see, but we are filming the orchard going in, so you guys will be able to see that, and my husband will help me explain why things are going in and where they're going in. And then once everything's in, I'll take you guys out there and we'll do a big orchard tour and show you guys everything that we did. So that's everything that my husband ordered for the orchard. Now the rest of this is just regular garden seed. The first thing I ordered from Migardner are these glow stick moonrise mixed carrots. We are putting in a raised beds for my carrots this year. We have very dense clay soil. My carrots have never done very well here. If I get a carrot that's like 2 inches long, it's a huge success. We're putting in probably 2 raised beds this year, and I'm putting my carrots in the raised beds, hoping that they do better. I would really like to be able to grow a lot of my own carrots and get them pressure canned and put up on the shelf for soups and stews. And we love like carrots on the stove with a little bit of butter, a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of honey. That is a favorite side dish here. So if I can get a ton of it grown and a ton of it prepped and canned, it's gonna save me a lot of time all winter long, all heading into the spring. Throw that into soups or stews or pot pies. It's something I'm very excited about. This glow mix is basically just a mixed carrot. Some are orange, some are yellow, some are purple, some are white. And I've tried growing these a couple times in the past. I've never had luck, so I decided to get them from Johnny's seed this time. I'm hoping that a better quality seed will do better. So I'm trying some different things this year, and that was one of them. Now, the other things I ordered from Johnny's seeds were because I needed them in bulk, and it's just a lot more convenient to buy them in bulk like this from Johnny's seed versus buying them a couple seeds at a time from Migardner or from somewhere else. So I ordered these sugar and snap peas. These were new to Migardner this year. They had decent reviews, and a lot of other snap peas were sold out. So I wanted to try these. They look good. They're supposed to be just like a sugar snap pea. It's just a different variety of it. We love sugar snap peas here. Put them on the stove, a little bit of butter, a little salt and pepper. It's a great side dish. We also love them in stir fries, and one of my favorite things that we preserved last year was basically this greens mix where I blanched green beans, snap peas, and broccoli all together in the same pot. and put them in a Ziploc freezer bag together and had our own mixed veggie mix, and we've just been referring to it as the green veggie mix all winter long. Great to use in stir fries or just for sides, for roasting different things. It's one of our favorites now, and I want to do more of that this year. Our snap peas and our green beans did terribly last year because our fence for the garden was not working well enough at all. We had a bunch of deer over on the property, way more than we've ever had previously, and they kept mowing down my green beans and my snap peas. So I only got like one harvest off of them. It wasn't very good. So this year the fence is going to be a lot better, and I'm hoping that we can get a year's worth. So I did grab some of those sugar and snap peas. I also grabbed some regular snap peas. I want to know the difference between the two. So I'm going to grow them kind of side by side and see maybe which one does better in our soil, which ones just do we like better taste wise. Are there some that we prefer better blanching and freezing versus eating fresh? So that's why I wanted to kind of experiment on those just a little bit. And then I also got this Trilogy green bean mix, wax beans, green beans, and purple beans. We're gonna give these a go, and I'm just excited to be able to have these fresh. They're just gonna be fun. I know once I blanch them and freeze them, the color isn't really gonna be totally there. It'd be different if we had a freeze dryer and I could freeze dry them. The color would stay really beautiful and vibrant, and we'd be able to enjoy that all winter long. But we're gonna give this a go. Very excited about this. Also got these in bulk because we need a lot of snap peas and a lot of green beans to get us through the year. We also are going to be needing to make dilly beans this year. I only have to make dilly beans every 2 or 3 years, and I'm hoping this year we get a good harvest because I wasn't able to do any last year. We only have, I think, 4 cans of dilly beans on the shelf, so we got to get more of those on. So I'm hoping these green beans do really well. Heading into Migardner, I didn't get a ton of seeds, I'm going to say that, but then we're going to talk about it, and I did place a pretty big order. My focus this year is going to be making sure that I'm using up my seeds that I already have from previous years, making sure that those are getting in the ground. They're not super old, they're only about 1 to 2 years old. I want to get those used up. So I didn't order a ton, but we are trying some new things this year, and I'm going to start with my pumpkins. I didn't have to order any squash this year because I have leftover squash seed from last year. We also don't eat squash here. We're not squash eaters. I pretty much only grow squash for the chickens to be able to have because they're really easy to grow typically, and you can just pick them, cure them off, and store them. They'll store all winter long typically. They make really good boredom busters for the chickens when they are cooped up and cooped in all winter long. It also helps keep them healthy throughout the winter. It's just a lot of good beneficial things for the chickens to have squash all winter long. So I pretty much only grow butternut squash, spaghetti squash for the chickens. If occasionally I have a family member who comes over and wants a squash out of the garden, I am more than happy to let them bring home some squash, but typically it's just for the chickens. But I did order a big Max pumpkin. I've tried to grow these in the past. They haven't done well. But I've done some research. I think I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm growing this for no other reason than just for fun, and I'm excited to see how these go. There's 15 seeds in here. I think this will be really fun to just have out in the yard. The chickens can go at it, just cut it up, whatever, I don't know, but I think this would be really fun to grow, so I'm really excited about that. I also ordered an Atlantic giant pumpkin. These 2 pumpkin seeds, the Big Macs and the Atlantic pumpkin, are basically just your state fair winning pumpkins. I'm not trying to grow a state fair winning pumpkin. It's just something fun. I'm excited about it. It makes me happy, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna give those a go this year and see how those go. I also ordered the Weeby little pumpkins, just little jack-o'-lantern pumpkins for the kids to be able to make their jack-o'-lanterns out of, paint them, decorate the front porch with, whatever they want. And my nieces and nephews can always come over and they pick some out of the garden typically every year. So this is just for all of my kids, my nieces and nephews, things like that. I only ordered 2 kinds of peppers because, like I said, we're using up what we have left over from last year. I ordered these Keystone resistant giant bells. We're gonna see how these go. I also ordered some jalapenos. I've grown these a couple times in the past. I pretty much only grow these to be able to make hot sauce with, or to make different hotness level, spicy level salsas and things like that. I've thrown extra jalapenos in my spaghetti sauce before, So I don't need a ton of those, but I need enough of them where if I had to buy them from a farm stand, they'll be really expensive. So I still try to grow them every once in a while. And what I did is recently I had some dehydrated jalapenos that I had from last year's garden, and I put them in my food processor, blended them up, threw in equal amounts of salt to my dehydrated jalapeno dust, and made some jalapeno salt. That was really good. You can throw that in whatever. And that was how we used up the extra jalapenos. I ordered the most leafy greens I have ever ordered previously. It wasn't until I think 2 years ago where I grew lettuce for the first time in my garden that I realized I really liked having lettuce in the garden. I've heard some terrible things about lettuce, that it bolts too quickly, that it's not worth it, that you have to keep replanting it, and that was not my case. I try to plant it in a shaded spot in the garden, and I live in the middle of a field. There's nothing here, and I just try to plant it behind something like my broccoli or my cabbage that's gonna grow really big and really bushy, that it'll shade my lettuce or whatever it is to keep it from bolting. And I've had great success with that over the last 2 years, where my lettuce actually hasn't bolted at all for me throughout the summertime. So speaking of lettuce, let's just start there. I did get a Hanson Improved Crisp Head lettuce. I've heard that these can be hard to grow if you have a short growing season because they don't have enough time to grow a head. We'll see how these go. I'm probably only going to grow 1 or 2. This is just an experiment. If they do well, then maybe next year I'll grow more. We'll see how this goes. However, I am working with more garden space than I'm used to because we are going to be adding 2 raised beds. So I'm going to have extra space in the garden where I might be able to grow more heads of lettuce if I wanted to. So we'll see how that goes. This is what I grew last year. It's a Paris Island Cos romaine lettuce. This has done really well for me every single year. Plant it in a shaded spot in the garden. I've never had issues with it. Can cut it when I need it. It just grows back up from where you cut it. It's really great. Doesn't take up a lot of space, and I don't need a ton of lettuce because not everybody in my family enjoys lettuce or salad or anything like that. So this romaine lasts quite a long time in the garden in a very small section. Now for cabbage, I grew these Golden Acre cabbages last year. They did fantastic for me. I mean, fantastic. I had probably 200 pounds of cabbage. More cabbage than I've ever had. I got gallons and gallons and gallons of cabbage. We're gonna grow these again and see how they go. I've never started them from seed before. I got my cabbage starts from a local nursery, so we're gonna see how this goes this year. I also got some Napa cabbage. I am going to try to make kimchi, at least that is my hope. So that's what I got the Napa cabbage for. Got 2 different kinds of spinach. They're both supposed to do decent in my area, so I wanted to get both. We'll plant them side by side, kind of like our snap peas, and we'll see what does better. So I got Verdil spinach and a giant winter spinach, and we'll see which one we like the best. They have very similar planting requirements and yield requirements, things like that. So we'll see how these go over. I feel like tomatoes are like a homesteader's best friend because you just need tomatoes to do so much, whether it be spaghetti sauce, diced tomatoes, salsas, barbecue sauces, sloppy joe mix, whatever you want to make. You just need tomatoes to do so much. In previous years, I've always grown slicing tomatoes. I grew up not knowing anything about canning, not knowing anything about gardening. Something I always wanted to do was garden and live in the country and just be away from the city. I grew up in a very small town, but compared to the country living, I definitely grew up city living. Other people probably wouldn't see it that way, but compared to like the rural country, I was still a city girl. And when I met my husband's family, they taught me everything about gardening and canning. They, specifically my in-laws, only grow slicing tomatoes because they hate peeling Roma tomatoes. So they will cook their sauces down or their diced tomatoes down, and they don't care if it's a little bit runny. That's their preference. They would rather have a little bit runny sauce or diced tomatoes versus having to peel Roma tomatoes. Now, it's their kitchen, it's their rules. Now that I've been growing my own food and canning the last handful of years, probably 5 years now, I know that I'm comfortable not peeling my tomatoes. My kitchen, my rules, your kitchen, your rules. You can do what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable not peeling my tomatoes as long as they're washed well. I cut out all the bad parts. I've been doing that the last 2 or 3 years now, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just now starting to switch from growing slicing tomatoes to Roma tomatoes because I don't mind peeling Roma tomatoes, because there are some things that I will peel my tomatoes for if I'm making salsa or things like that. There are some things where I will peel my tomatoes. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm comfortable with my canning practice. I know a little bit more and I have a little bit more of an opinion. Plus, what I can versus what my in-laws can are very different. They stick more to diced tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, whole tomatoes, things like that, where I make a lot more of our things and can them, whether that be spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, marinara sauce, sloppy joe mix, a lot of different things, my barbecue sauces. I make all of that stuff and can it all, and I don't want that stuff runny, so I'm switching to paste tomatoes. So this year I ordered a striped Roma tomato. This is just something fun. It's an intermediate tomato. Striped Roma is a unique heirloom variety with a colorful flare, red Roma tomato with a bright yellow streak. It's supposed to produce all summer long. I'm very excited about this. We're gonna see how this goes. I did order this big rainbow tomato. This is a slicer. These tomatoes come in a variety of colors and they're determined ripeness through other senses, so they're not going to turn all the way red, so you're gonna have to use other qualifying factors to figure out if your tomato is ripe. It says once it becomes ripe, it'll become shiny, it won't be dull. The weight of the fruit increases while the firmness starts to kind of give way to the plant. It's supposed to be delicious, it's supposed to be a really good slicer, but it's also something that I could throw in my spaghetti sauce if I have too many, but I'm mostly focusing on Romas this year. I did order a couple different types of cherry tomatoes. I ordered these yellow moonbeam tomatoes. These are amazing. I've been growing these in my garden the last handful of years. I've always gotten these starts from my local Amish shop. I've never known what they were called, but they're fantastic. They're a lot less of an acidic tomato. They're a little bit more sweet. They're a little bit more of a mild tomato as well, so they go really well in pasta salads or in just regular salads. They're also a really great just snacking tomato because they are less acidic. They won't leave sores in your mouth if you just are like me, you're down in the garden, you're popping tomato after tomato after tomato, or even my kids. They're really delicious like that. They are a fantastic tomato. They are an intermediate tomato. They are an indeterminate tomato. They are fantastic though, but even it says right here that they are very sweet and low acidity. They are low acidity. So if the acidity in tomatoes hurts your belly, but you love snacking tomatoes, this could be one for you. They're fantastic. I also ordered this Isis candy cherry. This is also an intermediate tomato. It's a bi-colored red and soft yellow cherry tomato. It is super fruity and sweet and will remind you why tomatoes are considered fruit. They are very delicious. So those are the two cherry tomatoes that I'm going to be growing this year. I did get 3 paste tomatoes. I did get an Amish paste tomato here. This is also intermediate. This Wisconsin variety yields tons of medium-sized, perfect red tomatoes that grow 8 to 12 ounces each. Their high acidity makes them ideal for pasta sauce, tomato paste, ketchup, and canning. That is the whole reason why I got this. It's Wisconsin native. It's supposed to be really great here. So of course I want to work with nature and not fight it. I want to work with things that are great for my zone. I'm also going to be growing some Wisconsin 55s. I have some seeds left over from last year. So we're going to give these Amish paste tomatoes a chance, see how these go. There are 25 seeds in here. I'm probably going to start all 25. I want to get a ton of these in the ground and hoping that they do really well. I also ordered 2 things of just straight Roma tomatoes here. These are determinate tomato, 2 to 3 ounce fruits. They're supposed to be amazing. Like I said, trying to switch out a lot of my slicing tomatoes for Roma tomatoes. I still will grow a couple slicing plants for things like BLTs and sandwiches. My kids also will just take a slicing tomato and eat it like an apple. So I don't want to take that away from them. And we're going to be growing a couple of those Wisconsin 55s, probably some big boys because those are classic, or some beefsteak tomatoes, and then these big rainbow ones. So I really limited myself to tomatoes this year, trying to use up old seeds that I have. I think I still have some pineapple tomato seeds too. Those were delicious in our salsas last 2 years. We really liked those. And my gardener also carries the pineapple tomato. I would highly recommend that. That's fantastic. So I have a couple seeds here. They're just kind of random. We'll talk about those. And then I also ordered some cucumbers. So I also ordered some Danvers 126 carrots. I did a lot of reading on the carrots. I wanted to know things that were a little bit more easy to grow, a little bit more forgiving. And these were ultimately the ones that I chose. So hopefully some of the carrots I ordered will do really well and we'll have a good carrot harvest. My husband also told me a couple days before I ordered seeds how much he liked eggplant parmesan. So of course, naturally I ordered some eggplant. I don't know. We've never had eggplant before. Apparently my husband's had eggplant parmesan. I think he said that he had it back in basic training or something like that. He talked about how good it was. So we're gonna try growing some eggplant this year. Maybe we'll make some eggplant parmesan. We'll see how this goes. But if we get a huge yield of eggplant, it'll probably end up going to the chickens, or maybe I'll hand them out to friends and family. I don't know. But this was an impulse thing. I'm not regretting it. It'll be something new to grow, which I like to do every year. The kids get to see how eggplant grow. It kind of expands their knowledge as well. So I kind of impulse bought this. Don't have a huge plan for it, and that's that. I did get some tomatillos. I've been trying to grow tomatillos last 3 years. I've never had success. I've never harvested one tomatillo. I've never had my tomatillo plants even survive transplant. It just kind of is what it is. I'm hoping that I can get these to grow and we can have a good get-go for these. You do need more than one tomatillo plant to get tomatillas. That was my issue. I think the first year or the first 2 years I tried to grow these, I only had one plant survive and then it was just done for. So this year I'm gonna start a couple more tomatillo plants, and hopefully I'm gonna transplant them and at least 2 of them will survive the transplant. I'm really hoping for. I would love to make some tomatillo salsa, some salsa verde, or some sort of tomatillo enchilada sauce. I've had plans for these for years and I've just never gotten harvest. We're gonna give these another go and hopefully this is the year that I get some tomatillos. Now, the last things I ordered were cucumbers. I got a national pickling cucumber. There are 50 seeds in here. I will put all 50 probably in the ground. This is another thing. I've either had really great harvests or really not so great harvests out of these. So I always plant in more than I think I'm going to need. These are what we're going to use to make pickles. Pickle relish. I just opened my last jar of pickle relish. I have no more on the shelf. So this year is going to be a heavy pickle relish year. And I'm hoping that we'll get a good harvest out of these. So we're gonna see how those go. I also got a muncher cucumber. My kids love these, grow these every single year. And this is just a kid favorite. We also slice these and put these on sandwiches, in wraps, cucumber salads, things like that. So we needed some munchers, and then I figured we should also do some straight 8 cucumbers. I've never grown these before, but we will see how these go, how the kids like them compared to the munchers. And if push comes to shove, I can always use these cucumbers to make pickles and things as well. I've done that the past couple of years, just mixed in my pickling cucumbers and my regular cucumbers in my pickles, and that works out just fine. Some people wouldn't like that because your regular cucumbers can get a little soft, but my kids don't care. I don't care. They're still delicious. It'll make a really good pickle relish if nothing else. So that is my entire seed haul for right now. I did also pick up 2 bags of sunflower mix for the kids. They always pick out a couple things of sunflowers, so the kids did that, and they'll be planting sunflowers like they do every single year. Other than that, that's everything I ordered for the garden. I am going to do another video on everything that we're planting in the garden. We're going to start starts here eventually. It's just too early here in my zone to be starting most of my starts. So we're not going to be worrying about any of that probably until April-ish. I've got to wait off a little bit longer. But thank you guys for having a cup of coffee with me today, or a cup of tea, whatever you drank while we talked about seeds. Let me know down below what you're planting in your garden this year. Are you trying some new things? I would love to hear that from you guys. And I will get you guys in another video. Bye.